Alicia Cooper and Bryan Morgan. I do see that Mr. Morgan is present from the Genesee County Jail. This is a show cause. Ms. Kraus, is this your matter?
This is.
Where do we stand on this case?
This is an arrears only case as of September of 2024 with a balance of $7,869.49. This hearing was adjourned from April 11th when the plaintiff failed to appear but was lodged in the Genesee County Jail since March 25th. I did make contact with the jail to have him appear today. We're just requesting maybe to find out a little bit more as to why he's incarcerated and potentially then address whatever's going on with the show cause today after that.
All right. Mr. Morgan, can you tell me how long you're going to be in the county jail and what you're in there for?
I'm in here for a couple of reasons, but I should be out. Well, I'm supposed to be out already. I'm waiting for mental health rehab, so that could be any day. I really don't know. As far as arrears, I've actually got an attorney general case going on, but I need to know how they changed my daughter's last name, because I'm a little irritated about that and how that happened and why it happened, and why should I even be obligated for these payments if they're going to go and change my daughter's last name.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, let me deal with one thing at a time. So how long have you been in the Genesee County Jail?
I've been in here about 3 months now.
All right, the reason I asked is if you're in for longer than 6 months, we can have support abated, that is taken off for a period of time. However, if you're less than that, then the support continues. So I wanted to find out if it was going to be reduced for the period of time that you're in there. When do you anticipate being released from the county jail?
Well, I'm going to be in here for probably about 6 months with incarceration and rehab and all that. So it's probably going to be 6-7 months when it's all said and done.
There's a difference between incarceration and rehab. If you're incarcerated, the statute says that you're entitled to have incarcerated for more than 6 months. The statute says that you're entitled to have your child support abated, or that is reduced to zero during that period of time, but it does not cover rehab.
Are you guys not aware of the Attorney General? Are you guys not aware of the Attorney General case going on right now with me?
We are aware of that, but we do not control that. We don't necessarily have access to that. So that's not this case. That's other cases that you have that the Attorney General is covering. So this is an addition to those.
I just paid $7,000
to those cases, yes, but not to this.
They're the same cases. It's the same case.
No, they are not. They're entirely different cases. And that's
both
why
my child support cases.
They are your child support cases, but that doesn't mean that they're the same case. This is for a different child. All right. So, Ms. Kraus, what is his arrears amount on this particular case?
This particular case is arrears only, so it's not currently charging. The amount is $7,869.47.
All right. Do you understand that, Mr. Morgan?
Yeah. Yep.
$7,869 owed, and it's not currently charging, but it's still going to be owed when you get out because it's not impacted by the Attorney General's case. It's a totally separate case. So when is your release date from the county jail?
I have no idea yet.
All right, Ms. Kraus, we may need to contact the county jail and find out from them what his release date, and they anticipate his release date is, and set a hearing shortly thereafter. Mr. Morgan, you mentioned going to rehab afterwards. Do you have a specific place that you're going to be going to rehab at?
Yeah, it's called New Pass in Flint.
And when do you anticipate going?
I've been accepted into Genesee County Mental Health Court, so I'm going to be doing that for the next 2 years. So I don't know what that entitles. So I might not be able to work for 2 years.
Well, we'll find out, and we want to work with you. That's why we're having this conversation right now. We want to make sure that we know what's going on with you, so that we can make good decisions in this case as well. And we'd be happy to work with the mental health court down there on whether or not you can work and what circumstances that you have. So we're happy to do that. We just want to keep in the loop and be informed. When do you anticipate release to new paths?
It could be any day. Like I said, I think I'm waiting on a bed right now.
Ms. Kraus, if you would also make contact with the Genesee County Mental Health Court and find out what his status there is and when they anticipate him having future hearings, or at least give them your information so they can contact you about future hearings so that we can keep in the loop on those things as well.
I know my sentencing hearing for mental health court is on July 22nd. I do know that.
All right. That's helpful. Thank you very much. Ms. Kraus, is there anything else that you can think of that we can do today?
No, just if for some reason he happens to be released, if he could reach out, if he's available, just so then we can track down as to what's going on if we're not able to get that information before his release.
Your Honor,
Mr. Morgan? Yes.
in regards
Go
to
ahead.
them changing my children's last name, I want to know how they did that and how they went about doing that and why I'm responsible if they're going to just go ahead and change my kid's last name on me with no, I mean, as far as I know, they did that illegally.
Who is they and which child had a name change?
It was it's my oldest daughter, her last name is Cooper now, and Alexia Cooper and Kevin Cooper are the ones who did that. And I believe it was fraudulently done.
Why do you believe it was fraudulently done?
How are they going to change my kid's name? In order to do that, you have to have a legal obligation of another adoption to that child. And I didn't give up my rights on that child.
All right. Ms. Kraus, is that the child that's involved in this particular case?
Let me look just a moment, Your Honor.
I believe it's in this case, right?
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that the child that you're talking about, Mr. Morgan?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And what leads you to believe that her name is now Cooper?
They posted documents on Facebook, Your Honor, of the new birth certificate, which they didn't show the top of it, though, because the top of it still shows my name. They just showed the new bottom of it with her name change on it. So I'd like to get to the bottom of this as soon as possible. I've been talking to lawyers down here, and they told me that's illegal for them to do that unless I gave up my rights on my child, or unless I gave up my rights, and also she was adopted by another person.
All right. Mr. Morgan, have you contacted the probate court for Otsego County?
I have, Your Honor, and that was done under Judge Cooper, which he is no longer available. So now you took over his spot. So they told me I don't know what to do.
Well, when did you contact the court about the name change information?
This was a few months ago, Your Honor, before I was incarcerated. They told me they had signatures. That's why I'm kind of wondering what signatures they had, because they didn't have my signature, because I would never sign off on my children. So I'm thinking they done it fraudulently, like I said.
Well, did you send paperwork to the court, or what did you do?
I got incarcerated right after the phone call, Your Honor, so I haven't been able to do much other, I'm incarcerated right now. So I was going to get on the ball as soon as I got out of here. So, but until then, I'd like definitely all my child support payments stopped, if that's the case. If they're going to change my name, I mean, I don't think I should be obligated to pay for the child if my child's not even going to have my same last name.
That doesn't change your obligation as a father. You can call the child whatever you want to call the child. You can call her Fred if you want to. That doesn't change your obligation.
Then as far as my understanding is, you guys did it illegal, and you guys will have a lawsuit on your hands.
I don't have any idea how it was done because the paperwork's not in front of me right now. I don't have that information available to me. So I don't know if it was legal, illegal, or what. But a change of a child's name does not change the obligation of the father to support the child. The child is still here. The child is still incurring costs. This child still has to have support. If you disagree with the name change, you can certainly file paperwork to see if that can be redone or undone. But that has nothing to do with the child support obligation.
Well, that's fine. I just think it's a little ridiculous.
Well, if you disagree with any of that, you have the right to file motions with the court, but that's paperwork that you need to do. You can't just come into court on a child support matter and start talking about something else without filing motions. Everybody's entitled to have that information ahead of time so that they can review it and find out for you. If you just make a claim in court on the record with no prior notice, nobody has the proper paperwork to be able to make a decision. Okay, so if
My
you
lawyer
want
told
to
my
do,
lawyer when I'm sorry, go ahead.
if you want to do something about that, then you need to file a motion that says, I think that the name was changed illegally, and then the court can set a hearing date and everybody can show up and we can all know what we're talking about. If you want to challenge the child support obligation to say that the child now has a different name and I shouldn't have that child support, you need to file a motion so that everybody has notice ahead of time, and then we can show up in a court hearing and know what we're talking about. But if you just make an allegation on the record when no prior notice, nobody knows what to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Also, these
Okay.
arrearages were caused from an incarceration back from 2021 when I was incarcerated in Otsego County Jail for a DUI. What do I do about that?
Same thing I just told you to do. You file a motion and you have it set for a hearing, and then we'll consider that. But until you file a motion, the court doesn't have any knowledge of what you want to do. Okay, and I can't just do it right now off the top of my head because I don't have that documentation in front of me. So I have to know ahead of time what it is that you want so that I can review it and make decisions about it. So if you think that you were incarcerated for longer than 6 months in the past, and that should have been taken off of your child support, then you need to make a motion and you need to provide documentation, that is paperwork that shows when and where you were incarcerated so that we can confirm that, and then we can make a decision. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any other questions, Mr. Morgan?
No, Your Honor. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Kraus, anything else for today?
No, I do not believe so. Thank you.
All right. That's all for today then. Good luck to you, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Go! Will you hand me my screen box?
Now go freak. Rah.
All right. The next matter is Devin Hildebrandt and Chelsea Brink. That's file 11-14050-DS. I do see Mr. Hildebrandt is here. Do we have Chelsea Brink with us?
Yes,
Could you put your video on, please, Ms. Brink?
I don't have that capability, sir.
Where are you at right
I'm
now?
here via phone.
Where are you physically located at right now?
The Comfort Inn and Suites. I got a room here last night. My dad gave me $1,000.
What type of phone do you have that doesn't have video capability?
Galaxy something. It's an Android device.
All right. And you didn't download the Zoom app? You're just calling in?
No, I'm connected via phone. That's the best I can do, Your Honor.
Ms. Kraus, is this your matter?
Yes, for this case with the Hildebrandt, yes.
All right. My order last time was that Ms. Brink submit documentation about job applications. She was supposed to do 10 job applications each week to the Otsego County Friend of the Court. Has she done that?
She has not. There was a voicemail that was left in regards to a couple concerns that were outside of employment issues that were outside the scope of Friend of the Court. That message was left for the other case manager.
That's the most untrue statement I've ever heard in my life. My voicemails
Ms.
were
Brink?
regarding job applications I submitted.
Ms. Brink, I will get to you in just a minute, but you don't get to just interrupt somebody else that's talking. I can't have a conversation with one person if somebody else is talking over that. You will have a chance
Well,
to
I'm
say
not
what
going
you
to
need
accept
to
lies about me.
Ma'am, you will have a chance to say what you want to say in a minute, but I need to talk to people in order, and it's not your turn. If you're going to do that in the future, I'm going to require you to be here in court. And if you're going to be here in court, you're going to behave yourself just like you would when you're on the phone. You understand that? All right, Ms. Kraus, go ahead.
Yeah.
As to the voicemail and the contents, it would be more appropriate to speak to the other case manager. Her obligation is $197. The arrears for this specific case is $10,604.42. The only payment that's been received was a payment in April and May. $100 was received, but $49.37 was distributed to this specific case each month.
All right. I do see Mr. Hildebrandt is here as well. Mr. Hildebrandt, have you received any child support payments from Ms. Brink?
No, sir.
When was the last time you did?
I want to say it was in May and it was like $45 or something.
All right.
I think I might have received 2 payments possibly. And
Same
that
ones
was,
that Ms. Kraus was just talking about?
yes, sir.
All right. All right, Ms. Brink, please tell me why you have not done the 10 applications per week and submitted them to the friend of the court.
I've been in the hospital for the last month. You ordered it.
I ordered you to be in the hospital for last month?
Yes. The police came to my house and said they had an order from you saying to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital with them.
Which hospital did you go to?
Well, they took me to Otsego Memorial Hospital emergency room and then transported me to D6 at Munson in Traverse City after that.
When were you
So I've been in
released
the
from the
hospital
hospital?
for the entire month. But I did submit applications to a few places. I left a voicemail on friend of the court and the prosecuting attorney's voicemails saying that I did that. And I had a job interview at Taco Bell yesterday, but it's really just not. I'm in a ton of pain. I've been in 2 car accidents and I'm homeless. So getting a job and making child support payments is not at the top of my priority list.
Really?
Although I know it is at the top of yours because my children need support, but I just can't right now. And I apologize for that, but there's just really nothing I can do. I don't know what to do. Nowhere seems to be hiring. I'm doing the best I can, to be honest with you.
Ms. Brink, what were you in the hospital for?
I don't even know. You ordered me to go to get checked out. That's all I know. And they sent me to the mental health. I guess supposedly it's a mental health unit.
When were
This is
you
not the
released
first time
from,
it's been ordered.
when were you released from the hospital?
2 days ago. I'm going to Petoskey's Mary Margaret house today to sleep on their couch. That's the best they can do. I have nowhere to go. And if I do that, I'm going to miss out on the Taco Bell job, but I don't know what to do. It's either that or sleep in my truck, and I can't keep sleeping in my truck.
Do you have a community mental health caseworker, Ms. Brink?
Supposedly, I don't know. They're not really doing their job, to be honest with you, but I have an appointment with community mental health in I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time speaking because I'm hurting, but in between 3 and 4 days from now, I have it on my discharge paperwork. If I looked at it, I can tell you the specific date. I think it's I don't know. I think it's a Wednesday or a Thursday this coming week. But if I go to the Mary Margaret house, I'm going to miss that appointment. So I don't know what you want me to do. I can do either or, but I'm going to struggle if I sleep in my truck for the next week. Luckily, I have gas for you, but
What I want you to do is contact community mental health, and if you need to change the appointment, you change the appointment, but you go to your appointment so they can help you find not only mental health treatment, but you can find housing. There's places in Otsego County that deal with people who have difficulty finding housing.
I've tried. United Way is closed, and that's the only place that helps with housing. NEMSCA doesn't help with housing, and that's it. There is nowhere in Otsego County that helps with housing. I've called all the numbers. I even went to the Goodwill Inn in Traverse City, and they rejected me.
Because of your behaviors.
No. Has nothing to do with that. My behavior is fine, sir. Sorry that you don't like it, but that's not the truth.
Ms. Brink, you need to stop when I start talking. MDHHS helps with housing all of the time. Have you made an application there?
Sir, I've made all the phone calls. They're not helping with housing. If you'd like me to prove it to you, I can give you the numbers and you can make the phone calls yourself. But they're not
Ms.
helping
Brink?
me with housing. Well, don't say something that's not true.
Ms. Brink, you still have a responsibility to apply for work, whether it's
I
difficult
have,
or
and
not.
I am.
You have not, because you've not submitted those to the,
Yes, I have. I've
All
been
right,
in the
you're out.
hospital. What do you want me to do? You ordered me to go to the hospital. You can't have your cake and eat it too, sir. I'm sorry.
Chelsea,
And I don't care if you think
Chelsea.
I'm being rude right now, but that's the truth.
Yeah, please watch.
we're good. We're good, Mr. Brown. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
No, you need to let my attorney speak if he's going to defend me. That's his job. You ordered for him to represent me.
Ms. Brink, what he was going to do was tell you to be quiet, not me to be quiet.
No one needs to be quiet. There's no reason for that.
Say what?
Ms. Brink,
We're
when did you
having
go
a
to,
conversation to figure this out. Maybe if you hadn't taken my kids from me in the first place, we wouldn't be in this situation. There was no reason
Ms.
for
Brink?
that either, to be perfectly honest with you.
when did
I'm
you
a
go
good
to the
mom.
hospital? When did you go to the hospital?
The first time I went to the hospital was June 2nd because I was so suicidal because I'm homeless that I wanted to literally kill myself. And they put me in Sheboygan Hospital for 2 weeks, let me out, sent me to CREW, which is which I don't know what it stands for. I can't remember right now. Crisis Residential Unit in Gaylord, and then they wouldn't accept me back for some reason because they didn't like that I went outside, and they said I went next door. And really, the honest to God truth is that because I wouldn't answer all their nosy ass questions, and so I went there. Not even for 24 hours. The cops came twice. The first set of cops left, had respect for me, and left. The second set of cops didn't. Handcuffed me, put me in the car, and took me to the hospital and said that they had a court order from you and that you wanted me to be checked out. And so they sent me to Munson. And I just got out 24 hours ago. So I'm sorry that I haven't put job applications in, but I'm in a ton of pain. And I will.
All right, good. We're going to adjourn this for a month. You're going to do the 2 applications a day, 10 applications a week to the friend of the court. We'll have another
I'll do
hearing.
as many as I can, but I'm not going to waste my gas when I'm not getting hired.
Ms. Brink, that's a court order. If you're not going to do a court's order, you're going to be in contempt of court.
Whatever.
All right. Ms. Kraus, would you please make sure that that's in the next court order? That's all for today then. Thank you very much. Ms. Brink, you have one more case, so you need to stay on the line until that case is called.
Your Honor, could you
It's the
repeat?
same fit.
Could you repeat the
It's
amount
the
of job
exact same.
application?
Yeah, please mute Ms. Brink. All right, Ms. Kraus, the order is that we adjourn today's hearing 30 days and that she submit 2 applications per day or the equivalent of 10 applications per week, just like the previous order.
Thank you.
And then we'll simply have it reviewed in 30 days. Thank you, Mr. Hildebrandt. That's all for you today. You're free to go.
Can we, I got a question, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
The last hearing that we had that I was not allowed in on, I know there was Miss Kraus brought up the fact that she had sold her home and that it just got overlooked in the last hearing. It was mentioned and then nothing else was said about it. She had plenty of income to pay a little bit of her child support or some of her child support when she sold her house for $30,000.
All right,
You know,
Ms. Kraus, do you have any other information about that?
Outside of, it wasn't at the last hearing. Unfortunately, I wasn't present for that. I believe the other case manager handled the Mays one, but in April, we did receive information. Let me just look at my last notes.
I don't recall that off the top of my head. That's why I'm asking.
I do remember there was conversation that we did have notification, or we were able to see that that property was sold online, but we weren't able to find the amount. It was addressed, but I don't know exactly what had happened in regards to that.
All right, between yourself and the other case manager, would you assist me in trying to pull up some statistics or facts on that? Get me as much information as you can, and we'll review that again at the next court date.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Hildebrandt. We'll deal with that then. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And if you, Mr. Hildebrandt, if you have any other additional information, would you submit that to the friend of the court so that they can get that to me so that we can address it on the record?
Yeah, I feel that it's always been just a blatant refusal for her to even pay any amount of child support, especially if she was just gifted $1,000 from her father yesterday. Should we expect a little bit of a payment? I understand that she's homeless and all, but that's by her own free will. She's the one that sold the house that was paid for. It's not a pity party for Chelsea today. It's, you have an obligation, you have children, support your children.
Yep, I understand that. But today's not the day for me to do that because I don't have all that information in front of me, and I'd like to have it before I make a decision. So we'll deal with it in 30 days. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, the next case is Stanley Huffman versus Danny Marcinkowski. That's file 17-16885-DP. Either Ms. Marcinkowski or Ms.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hefflink, may I speak? This is Chelsea Brink again. You said to stay on the line and that I had to stay for the Mason case, but you've already moved on.
I'm calling another case, and I'll call your case, your second case, in just a minute, but it's not up yet. It's not its time yet, so you need to hold on until that case is called. All right, do we have Danny Marcinkowski or Stanley Huffman with us? All right, the next case is William Mason and Chelsea Brink, file 13-15199-DC. Ms. Brink, are you still with us?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to ask the friend of the court to update me on this particular case, and then I'll give you an opportunity to present your side if you wish. Go ahead, Ms. Spillane.
This matter was adjourned from May 30th, and similar to the last case, she was supposed to provide 10 job applications each week. Support obligation is $202 a month plus $50 ordered on arrears. Her current balance is sitting at $13,107.99, with the last payment received in May of $50.63.
All right.
I paid 2 payments of $100 each.
In April
And like
May,
I said,
right?
I've been in the hospital.
Yep, I remember that. Do you have any
And I'm
dollars?
homeless.
Do you have any dollars currently available to you to make child support payments?
No, I do not.
Did you receive, you mentioned receiving $1,000 from your dad?
I'm
Why
homeless,
is-
sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm homeless. I'm not
All right,
paying
but you-
child support when I'm homeless.
You have an
My
obligation.
kid's not
to
homeless. He has clothing, food, toys, big screen TV, Xbox. He's got everything he needs. His dad does not ask me for money. I've called him, spoken with him twice, agreed to let me see him and talk to him. That still hasn't happened. Called him when I
Right.
got out of the hospital. He was one of my first calls. Didn't answer. Nothing needs to be paid. Technically, I don't even owe that because all of that happened when I was incarcerated for a year in the Otsego County Jail. So it needs to be remedied, to be honest with you.
Ms. Brink, did you sell your house in the last few months?
Yeah, and I was homeless, so most of my money went to hotel stays because my parents have dementia and can't understand that I'm homeless and need to move home.
How much did you receive from the sale of your home?
I don't remember.
Did you receive documents that told you how much you received?
No, I did
from the sale?
not. No, I did
find
not
that-
receive documents.
I find that hard to believe, ma'am, that you can sell a house. and
Well,
not
you
have
can if you want, but I did not receive documents.
Who did you sell the house to?
I don't know. It was a company.
which real estate agency
And the
did
other
you use
reason
to
I
sell the
sold
home?
my house is because Bryan Morgan, who you just spoke with a little bit ago, proposed to me when I was living at the sober living house getting treatment for alcoholism. And he proposed to me, said to move down there, that he could get me a job at Lucky Steakhouse. Did not follow through on that. I got a job at Italia Gardens, and then they fired me. And I did make payments when I was working at Italia Gardens. They took it out of my paycheck. I didn't even receive a paycheck.
Ms. Brink, which real estate agency did you use to sell the house?
I don't remember. I think it was Smith Realty or something.
What did you do with the money
So
once
the
you
only
received
reason I
it?
sold my house is because I was clear down in Davison with no money, no job, no vehicle, no support from my family, and I couldn't get back up north to take care of my house.
What was the address of your
I
house?
didn't want
that
to
you
sell it. I had no choice.
Ms. Brink, what was the address of the house that you sold?
1336.
And when was the sale?
I don't remember. May something or March. I'm sorry, March something.
March of this year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall who you sold it to?
No, I already answered that question once, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I just pulled it up on the county's equalization site. It shows that it sold March 25th for $37,000.
All right, Ms. Brink, I'm going to ask the friend of the court to prepare paperwork to send to you so that you can show cause as to why you've not made child support payments out of the funds that you received from the.
I did. I made two payments of $100 each. It doesn't matter that I didn't pay the entire arrears. I made payments, period.
I'm going to ask the friend of the court to send me documentation of the information that they have about the house and about the money that you received from the house, so I can determine whether or not you made sufficient payments.
No, that's illegal. That's illegal. It doesn't matter that I didn't make the payments in full for the arrears. The state law says as long as you made an effort, and I did.
That's a good faith effort out of available resources is what the phrase is.
Yeah, and I did. That was all I could do. By the time I got back up here to make payments, the money was damn near gone.
You'll have an opportunity to show me that at a future hearing, but I want you to have the
I don't have receipts for anything, so how am I going to show you that, Your Honor?
You're going to have to tell me about it then.
I just did tell you. Now you're just being facetious, rude.
All right. You'll receive documentation from the friend of court.
You are an adult. You can hear me.
Ms. Brink, you're going to receive documentation from the friend of the court.
I have no mailing address, so I don't know how I'm going to receive documentation. You'll have to send it to my parents' house, and I'll be lucky to get it. Like I said, they have dementia. I'm trying to take care of them. Very difficult to take care of two children, two baby dads, because that's what they are. They're not grown men. They're little boys. Men do not ask women for money, to be honest with you. Not in the world I grew up in, and probably not in the world you grew up in either, Your Honor. And I have two parents that I'm trying to take care of that have dementia and diabetes, both of them.
All right. Ms. Brink, that has nothing to do with child support matters.
But that's all circumstances that are related to it that need to be taken into consideration.
At the next hearing, you may be right, but not at today's hearing. So at the next
am
hearing,
right, Your Honor. Obviously, I'm right if you're adjourning it.
No, I'm going to adjourn this for 30 days so that we can have a review of two things. One is going to be whether or not you owe additional money from the payment to your house. And the second thing is we're going to adjourn for 30 days so that now that you're out of the hospital, you can continue to make your 10 applications per week. So we'll have a hearing in 30 days on both of those issues. The friend of the court will send out a notice to you of the requirement to pay.
How are you going to do that, Your Honor? You do not have an address for me. I do not have an address. I am homeless.
Where do you want me to send it so that you get that information?
Well, I'll be lucky to get it. If you send it to my parents, they might communicate it to me over the phone, but that's the best I can do. And she doesn't understand that paperwork, so she's not going to really explain it to me very well.
Okay. Ms. Spillane, do you have Ms. Brink's phone number?
My phone will probably be turned off. I'm going to try and make my phone payment, but it's only going to be good for another month, maybe. But it's 989. Yes, they do have my current phone number.
All right. Ms. DeFider, can we schedule a hearing next month right now?
The best way to communicate is through my attorney.
Jenny would have to do that, sir, because I don't know what your schedule is like. So Jenny sets those dates.
All right.
So your next motion day would be July 11th is your next motion day with us.
Let's set it for that at 9 o'clock.
July 11th at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Let me write that down before we hang up. And is that just for Bill?
That's for the two things that it's for both of these cases. So your case, with this case, which is with William Mason, and the other one is Devin Hildebrandt. Both of those cases will be set for 9 o'clock. The issues will be whether or not you've made sufficient payments out of the funds that you received, both from your father and from the sale of the house. If you disagree with that, you can file a motion. But I'm going to set it
I'm
for
not
that
going
kind
to
of.
be filing any motions because it doesn't need to be officially on paperwork, Your Honor. You're just being stupid now.
Ms. Brink, if you have an objection to what I'm doing, you must file a motion to object to it, or you can show up at the next hearing and make your objection. All right. Ms. Spillane, is there anything else that we need to do today?
No, sir.
That's all for today then. Thank you very much. You're free to go,
Goodbye.
Ms. Brink.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What is going on today? This is a joke. This is a joke. Today is an absolute joke. He needs an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself sometimes.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Miss Reed? We're going to start bringing people in person. People going to learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
I have no patience for that. And trust me, out of the day, I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs a drink.